Welcome back to Wicked Gingerbread if you've visited before. My name is Molly if you're new. Today I'm paying homage to all things seafood. I love seafood, and so I try to come up with a breakfast, lunch, and dinner of some favorites that have seafood in them. We're going to do Crabby Eggs. I have visited New England and I can never make clam chowder like they do, but I can sure try. So that's what's going to be for lunch, and then for dinner is Tuna Noodle Casserole. So up first is, I've already got some crab. Now, normally I am all about shortcuts and kind of using what's available. If you can, don't use imitation crab for this. I highly recommend that you go ahead and get yourself some actual crab meat. This wasn't that expensive. This is gonna make 4 to 6 servings. And it's ready to eat, so it's already cooked, and this is about 8 ounces. So the good thing is I'm just kind of toasting it up a little. Now, this is where you could use regular eggs. I'm using about 4 cups of egg whites. So you could use 6 to 8 eggs. So I'm gonna go ahead and put the egg in, the egg white. This is gonna turn into kind of an omelet. Okay, and then I'm going to put about 1/3 of a cup. Just put some kind of you could use fat-free heavy cream. I'm using unsweetened almond milk. Actually, I'm gonna go ahead and put a half of a cup. Give it some creaminess. Okay, so the Crabby Eggs, it turned into kind of like a scramble, and they're done. So I turned the heat off, but before you take them out of the pan, I have about 30 grams, I don't know, I'd say maybe 3 tablespoons of Parmesan cheese, grated. And then I also have about a cup of spring onions or green onions. I think this looks beautiful. So let's plate it. There's one more ingredient. And I think this is gonna make about 5 portions. You could spread it out to 6 if you wanted. Okay, and then there's one last thing we're gonna do to this. I have some reduced fat sour cream. Just gonna put a little dollop here and there. And then you could serve this with a nice piece of whole grain toast. And there is the Crabby Eggs. And by no means is this the famous New England clam chowder that I so adore. This is just my lightened up take on it. And you can add more clams. I'm just using canned clams for this. Normally when I have you use something from a can, I probably drive you crazy talking about rinse it and drain it. In this situation, keep the clam juice. It's gonna add more flavor. Now, you could use 2, it just depends on what volume of chowder you're making, chowder. But I am only using 1 can, plus the juice from the can. And I wanna bulk it up a little, so I'm also gonna add 1 pound of deveined, peel off shrimp. The first thing I'm going to do is start with some flour, 3 tablespoons of, I only use wheat flour. And I'm almost going to make a roux, so I have this on brown, and I want to add just enough milk to where you could mix. The flour is going to actually thicken it up. So I just have this on the brown setting. Now, I like to cook things in the crock pot, but you certainly could, use your standard pan on the stovetop, and you would be doing this on like a medium heat. Now, the real chowder is probably made, at this point they would create a roux to thicken it up, and they would put like a stick of butter, and you would be using heavy cream. Next thing in, cup of onion. Just get that kind of stirred up into the roux. 1 container of your favorite mushrooms. 2 to 3 garlic cloves. 2 cups of unsweetened almond milk. Now, instead of the butter and even more flour and heavy cream, I am going to sub in 25% less sodium cream of mushroom. You could use cream of chicken. Okay, and then I'm going to put this whole container, which is about 3 cups. I am putting in 4 cups of vegetable stock, unsalted. So that's one of these whole containers. Okay, and 1 container, it's about 6.5 ounces of minced clams and the sauce, the juice. 2 bay leaves, a generous portion of thyme, and then I'm going to put about a cup of parsley, fresh chopped, and then I'm reserving a little bit to put on each bowl of soup when I'm done. And then I'm going to put this on high. Oh yeah, the shrimp. Now I'm using frozen 1 pound of frozen shrimp. You could wait until this is done, until this is cooked for, you could wait for about an hour to put this in, but my shrimp are frozen so solid that it should be okay. I'm going to cook this on high for about 2 hours, and it's just going to soften the mushroom and get everything kind of incorporated. And the clam chowder has slow cooked for 4 hours. And it smells amazing. Okay, and to top this off, remember we reserved a little bit of the parsley. So just put a little extra parsley. And then I have some of that chicken bacon left over. So you want to just crumble up whatever your favorite bacon is. And that is going to make for a very healthy clam chowder with shrimp. Welcome to dinner, seafood style. I'm going to take us back to like a diner classic / cafeteria classic with an upgrade. This is tuna noodle casserole, lightened up of course, and I'm showing you just a really quick way to throw a bunch of vegetables in. And instead of using heavy cream, we're going to use some almond milk and a heart healthy cream of mushroom soup base. So let's get started on dinner. Okay, so with this healthier edition of tuna noodle casserole, the very first thing you're going to want to do is cook some egg noodles. Just like you would pasta, but leave them al dente. It took about 10 minutes, boiling water. They come in a bag like this. I got them from Kroger. They were any kind of egg noodles. This just happens to be extra wide, and this is 1 pound. And I am using, gosh, I say this is maybe a 13 by 10. It's a rather large glass dish. So the first thing we want to do is kind of make the base. I'm going to use 1 can of cream of mushroom soup, and I chose one that has less sodium, or some of them say heart healthy. So instead of doing flour and heavy cream and butter, which is how a lot of them start out, I'm going to do a shortcut, and a little healthier shortcut. We're just going to use 1 can for this. I'm hoping to get anywhere from 10 to 12 servings out of this, so it should go a long way. Okay, and then I'm also going to put in about 2 cups of unsweetened almond milk. Put some generous portion of pepper if you happen to like it like I do. You don't need any salt because that's the one thing with soup. It always has a lot of sodium in it. So we're just going to kind of incorporate the almond milk. You could use 2%. You could use whole milk, but I try to go lighter, so. Okay, so you just want to get the soup and the almond milk mixed together. I am really going to vegetable this up. So I'm putting a whole 8-ounce container of mushrooms, 2 cups of chopped celery, 2 cups of chopped carrots. Okay, and then I'm going to add 3 cans of tuna. Now when I get tuna, I try to get the ones that are wild caught, that say, no salt added, in water. Some of them are line and pull caught. I try to get the sustainable ones wherever I can. I only had 1 this time. These are just the regular standard tuna. And that's 3 cans of tuna. Now I take the tuna and I keep the lid on it, but I open the lid and I run water in it and squeeze the lid. I try to get some of the yuckiness out and try to get all the whatever's the residue that's with the tuna. Okay, now again, you want to cook the noodles first. I've already done that. So now I'm going to slowly add the noodles in batches. And I did let the noodles cool, but you don't have to do that. I just did it so that it'd be easier to, just going to do like a little handful at a time. Actually, I might not even need this whole container. Yeah, so I'll probably, you can make really nice pasta out of this. Just throw a little, if you have any meatballs on hand, or just some spaghetti sauce. So yeah, I'm going to use the rest of it, and I'll measure this out. I put in I'm using iTrack Bites now, and I put the entire bag in. So now I'm going to measure and see how much is left, and subtract that. You might even be able to get by with just using half the bag. You have to play around. Depends on how big your container is. If you're using if you're using a smaller container, you could always use, maybe 2 cans of tuna. Kind of reduce it down a little. I would still use 1 can of the soup. Then I'm going to kind of flatten it out. And remember, the tuna, you could have tuna just fresh out of the can. So just remember, this doesn't really have to, you're not really cooking any meat with this. Once the noodles are cooked, it should be good to go. So you want to just get this flat because we're going to put a topping on this. You could at this point put panko. You could put breadcrumbs. I want to give this a little more flavor, and I want to give it a little more protein. So they sell these in most stores. They sell them on Amazon. Quest cheddar and sour cream potato chips. And these are amazing. I'll have these with like a chicken sausage for dinner or for lunch. They're really flavorful, and they have 19 grams of protein per bag, and I'm going to use 2 bags. And I'm just going to sprinkle this on top to give it a little crunch. And I did smash the bag because you want this to turn into like a crust. Okay, into the oven, preheated 375. Going to bake this for about 45 minutes. Okay, so the tuna noodle casserole wound up cooking for just about 35 minutes. I felt like it was starting to get brown, too brown if I left it in longer. And this is what it turned out like. And I'm going to try to get 10 servings, maybe more. But I just thought I would kind of show you. It smells really amazing. It just has like, you can smell kind of the cheesiness from the crackers or from the potato chips that I put on it. Here's what it looks like. You've got your crunchy topping, your creamy bottom, a little bit of omega-3s from the tuna. So, I just wanted to thank you for watching this seafood episode. Keep on cooking, and I hope you have a great week. I'll see you next week.